design wasn't going to work at all. And so I wound up doing a Kickstarter campaign because the new design was going to cost a lot more money. And so I did a Kickstarter and raised a bunch of money and started building it, and basically realized that the way I was going to have to think about the, like, evaluating it as like an artwork that I totally, reputable art centers, and then trying to push a like an open source document detailing how it could be done, and be like, this could be used to do these small scale community projects. But it's really hard to do like a truly collaborative event with a place when you're like showing up on a small time scale, you know? And if you're not going to do a good job, then I think you just kind of come off as an asshole. And it's pretty easy to like make it seem like prescriptive, like saying like, you know what, you need my artwork, which I don't think is very appropriate at all, and that's not how I'm thinking about this thing. And so I guess instead of like proving its functionality by driving it 5,000 miles and doing these events at these places that would sort of validate it, and then sort of saying, look, it can actually do these things, was going to be maybe the best way to make use of it. So, yeah, it's a funny thing. And now I just kind of have it, and I'm like, we're moving. I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of it. So I'm setting it up over at my friend Ken's house on Monday, and it's going to go live next to his giant kiln. They may do like test stuff with it. It makes nice pots.
How many more firings do you think it's good for?
Well, if it was just sitting there and set up, I think it's good for quite a few. Yeah. And it's easy enough to get the stuff together to make it happen. I guess that really seems that way because all the places I've done it, like I go somewhere, everyone's really pumped on it, and then they get all the material together and get all the pots, and it's like, it's pretty easy. But if it was just you cutting up all the wood and filling it with all your work, I don't think it's really any different than any other wood kiln, except it's just small. And I think it just depends what expectations you want from it. One of the things that's really cool about it is, so it's made out of this, the arch form is the primary material is called K30 Castolite, and it's this sort of insulative castable refractory material. So it's good to a really high temperature, but it's also quite insulative, and so it fires very efficiently, so like a gas reduction kiln. And when I first built it, we were like trying to figure out how efficiently we could fire it. And we were sort of pushing it, and then at the Archie Bray Foundation, we like had this great wood, very similar to this, and like figured out that if you had very little air and you gave it like this light stoke, it would just sort of like just absolutely vaporize this wood, and the temperature was just skyrocketing on it, and we got to like cone 14 in 2.5 hours or something like that. And we thought that was really cool, and then we unloaded the kiln, and no one liked any of the pots. They were awful. It's not that they were awful, they just looked like they had been electric fired.
Yeah.
And there was no evidence of any ash, or, there was, well, there's just no evidence of the firing, and it's like, if you're going to work for all of this, people want to, like, see that work on the pots, or they want to glaze the pots knowing that that's going to be the case. So all of the like unglazed areas that are typically like really exciting on wood-fired pots were like just sort of dry. They just looked, it really did look like unloading an electric kiln where people forgot to glaze half the pots. And that was a really interesting thing, because like my interest in wood as a fuel source is like, it's a carbon neutral fuel source, and it's a renewable fuel source, and I like the activity of firing it together. Like, the look for me isn't so important, or I didn't understand its importance, I don't think, but like, if you need a good pot to garner interest in What are you barking at?
Trini, no. Trini, no.
Someone walked past.
She's already claimed this as her own.
She really has.
This is my house.
She's like, these are my people.
Get out of
That's
my
a
house.
threat. Shh, no.
Yeah, I don't like. You need a good pot in order to make someone interested in the rest of the thing. And so it's so funny because we weren't really trying, and we were getting decent results at all of the other places, and then we finally like nailed it as efficiently as we possibly could, and then the whole rest of the project fell flat because the pots weren't propping it up. And so it has been fun to like really try and figure it out. Also, like, how can I make it make the best possible pot? Because it seems like the better the pot is, the more people are interested in everything else that comes along with the project. So that's been a funny thing. But
Have you found a way to like maybe slow down the firing process so you get that like?
well,
sort of
yeah,
classic
if
wood
you have
grain?
bigger cordwood,
Oh, okay.
then yeah. And it's super interesting in terms of learning how. Oh, I have to take this. I'm sorry. Hi, Hannah. How are you? Doing just great. We built Mobil Anagama here at Pewabic Pottery.
You guys looking at plans, different plans for the project?
A bunch of ash to like throw in the kiln as it's.
No, so the other thing.
No, nice try.
Trying to be
I'm
polite
just
about
not-
that.
I don't know. I'd rather like get it. The other thing you can do is you can damper it down, so it just doesn't have full power. You just go slow. So it'll be fine. We can do it. The only issue the only thing is that there's only a certain size firebox, right? And although it's big for the kiln, overall it's small. And you don't want to clog it. So you could have like a slow draw and stoke it to try and maintain a reduction in the kiln, but you have to be really careful about not making a giant coal bed that's going to clog the kiln. So it's all about the balance of it, and we'll sort of be talking through it tomorrow as we do it.
What time you guys gonna light it?
Like 9 or 10, but until like 2, it's basically it's as small as we can handle it. Just a tiny little fire in the front.
Oh, it's slowly warming up.
Yeah, I don't want to blow up any of the wands.
I finished my PR.
I don't want to blow up anything. Would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got 2 pots. There are a few pots that we're gonna want to fire. So
Hello.
you gotta be careful with them.
What do you think?
I'm just gonna talk to the dog all weekend. I'm gonna like not do anything. I'm just gonna talk to the dog.
The best days are days when there's a dog at work.
I agree.
That's what I think.
I just think Ruby needs to come back, and then
I
It's
miss
not how.
Ruby.
I miss Ruby
Like,
too.
if I could
And then I
redo
also,
it,
hey Greg, how's it going?
Great.
So it's basically the change. It then will become water soluble.
Yeah,
So
it's
it'll
then what?
actually
Yeah, so you
disintegrate.
just wash it off essentially.
And it leaves nice little patterns.
So this is no, it turns into calcium carbonate, and this is something else in it.
to start.
There's some carbon fused in it here,
No, just
I'd
turn this
imagine,
one
Oh.
because it's an organic material, right?
on. Yes.
My hair.
I think that's how that works.
We'll just get your hair in the shop the whole time.
That's all we need.
Right.
Okay. I think it's sweet.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's an awesome project. I've been reading all about it.
Thank you.
It's great.
Thank you.
Lots of fun.
It has been an awesome time to do it. Taken me all sorts of crazy places, and so because it's so insulative and it has very little thermal mass, it's a really good way to learn about how firing works, because when you begin to lose temperature after you've stoked it, you just watch it. It just plummets. So if you have a pyrometer in it, it is like, it's crazy cool because it's so responsive. So you stoke it and it takes energy to burn wood, and you watch the temperature drop, and then it gives you that temperature back, and then those coals begin to mature, and you get a little bit hotter than you were before, and then it begins to fall, and it's like it's very immediate. Whereas if the whole thing was all this radiant, if this was all thermal mass, like all hard brick that you're heating up, you wouldn't have fluctuations so much, so intensely, and so it becomes a little bit harder to read exactly what's going on. But yeah, because of the lack
Does
of
the airflow affect it a lot, or you're just
yeah.
opening it up and firing it in, or you're
yeah, so
tapering
there's
off
yeah,
the
so
air?
when we build up the door, we're sort of building in our air controls.
Okay.
And then you basically leave
So
plugs
it
that you're
just
pulling,
breaks it,
opening and
popping
pulling.
in and out to
At the
adjust.
end of the firing, it's all closed up,
Yeah.
and it's actually pulling hard enough that it's just going to get its air through the cracks in the brick. It's you can't.
It's desperate for air.
Yeah, it'll just take it no matter what. So you might as well try to keep it from it, but it'll find it. Okay, so in the back, prior to the first shelf, we can kind of stick some pots up into the chimney. And so I would like for them not to be cups, because you could get some schmutz in there. But anything that's tall, skinny, so this guy would be great. This guy,
We have some flasks.
some flasks would be awesome. I think probably this guy would go really well. And I'm gonna get up in there, and at all times we're gonna need like a couple people sitting here, and we're gonna be like communicating in and out of the kiln and trying to talk about what's going on where. And I can kind of like point and be like, the blue one. You can be like, this one? Yeah. I'm like, no, not that one.
This one needs some
Can you hook up a camera so you can see the table and in there too? Or?
No. Fine. Okay. And if anyone is really jumps in to take a turn in there.
Henry, speak up.
If
You want to take a turn in there?
Yeah, you get me, and you get to call the fire department.
I'm okay.
Yeah. Well,
No
I
interest in
got
crawling
a
into
wonder
that.
bar
Real
today.
ones, and I have a video right now. Next.
I already dared Lauren to do it. We're loading up these guns. She's like, we're gonna fall in on me now.
One day.
Well, it happened in our old reduction kiln. Almost killed Vicky.
Really? It fell in?
Well, not like the arch, but the
you
shelves
want some
snapped in
flasks,
half,
or
and
do you
all
want
of the
more
work
tall
on it
pots?
came. Because it was ginormous, and she climbed in. Because like you could stand
I mean, that might be
inside
too
of
large.
it. And yeah, so one of the back middle shelves snapped. So there was stuff on top of it, so that all came tumbling down on top of her and out of the like. She like heard the